Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and those of unspecified makes and models. This is Dracalis here, and I'm coming at you with my first ever video, and this is going to be a video on how to make a trap account in Lords Mobile. So the first thing that I would say that is necessary for making a trap account is experience. I would definitely not recommend that you make a trap account as your first ever account. I have a couple of T4 accounts, another account that's going up to T4 right now. It just needs a couple more researches. And if I were to try to make a trap account as my first account, I assure you I would end up probably just completely failing and losing all my troops immediately. And the reason for that is because when you're trapping people, you're gonna want to decide what fights you're gonna pick. And the only way that you're gonna know which fights you want to pick is if you have the experience. So I wouldn't necessarily say that you need to have, multiple T4 accounts or even one T4 account as the necessary amount of experience. But I would say that you want to have a good grasp on how the game works. So first thing for making a trap account is don't try to make it as your first account, because with a normal account, if you mess up, it usually means losing your leader, maybe losing some troops. But with a trap account, when you mess up, that's it. It's game over. Like, all your troops that you have are just going to be gone. If I mess up, I could easily lose this 2.5 million troops that I have, and that's not even a lot of troops, So now then, talking about troops, that's the second most important thing for making a trap account, is getting troops. So I'm doing it really badly. I should have trained probably up to 5 million troops before I tore down all my manors, but I got kind of anxious and I wanted to test out my trap account, as you can see here with some of these marches that I ate earlier today. They were all T3 except for this one, I don't think. I think this one was a mix of T3 and some T1 there, yeah. But still, pretty nasty attacks, all from guys that were, multiple times over my might. I think this guy right here might have been... Well, when he attacked me, I'm pretty sure he was like 50 million might, and now he's down to 44 million. So, yeah, getting back on topic, troops. You're going to want to make a lot of troops, which means you're going to want a lot of manors to start out with. And because you're going to have a lot of manors, you're going to want to stay shielded and not be trying to trap people at this point. Because, if you only have one infirmary, if someone attacks you, then your infirmaries are going to fill up, obviously. So during the time that you're building troops, you want to have all manors when you're building them. And once you feel like you're comfortable with the amount of troops that you have, you can start tearing them down and building up infirmaries, which is what I'm doing right now. Which troops should you build? I've seen some people make T3 troops in their trap accounts. I might be doing that. I might make like just a couple of stealth snipers. I wouldn't really recommend making a lot though, because they give you a lot of might, and I'll get into it towards the end about why you don't want a lot of might as a trap account. Obviously you're going to want a lot of T1, and you want T1 to be your front line. I see a lot of misinformation going around about how you don't want T1 on your front line, but that's just 100% false, guys. You want T1 on your front line. You don't want T2 on your front line. The reason for that being is because T1 heals instantaneously. In a snap of my fingers, T1 heals. It doesn't matter if it's one wounded T1 or 100 or 100,000 or a million, even though no infirms can hold a million troops, they would all heal instantaneously. Whereas T2 troops, when they get wounded, they're going to take some time to heal. So you're going to want T1 on your front line, absolutely. And my front line right now is infantry, so obviously I have more infantry than anything else. I have 1 million grunts and 600,000 of archers and cavalry, and then I just have a little bit T2 here. So moving on to the next thing, it's stats. A lot of people forget that troops without stats are completely meaningless. So make sure that when you're trapping people that you're in talents. Currently I am. And also when you're also going to want to get some pretty decent gear for your trap account. Right now, I'm working on getting my gear better. So good starting gear that I'd recommend if we go over into the workshop right now. Good starting gear that doesn't require any ultras. The Indulgent Visage, I have no clue how you pronounce that. Omelette du fromage, is that how you pronounce that? It sounds French. It doesn't require any ultras. The Angelic Plumes are going to be the rarest things here. And it gives you 10% infantry attack and 10% range attack. That is definitely the best helmet that requires no ultras. And then as far as chest pieces go, Armor of the Abyss is probably going to be the best chest piece that you can go with. I'm using the Mega Maggot chest piece, however, because I don't have, in Armor of the Abyss, I don't have any Smoldering Cores, which is weird because Devil Horns are the rare items there. And then another good item would be Honeycomb Chaps. for your for gear that doesn't require ultras, then another good piece of gear for if you're a trap account is actually Fiery Tomahawk. It takes basic materials, and at max it gives you 20% attack stats, so it's pretty dang good. And then over in equipment, Frostwing Shield is pretty good. The max HP is never lost on a trap account. If you don't want to go with HP stats, then you could go with something like a Lunar Scimitar here in this slot. And then as far as accessories go, you can really go with anything for the accessories slot. I'd probably prioritize whatever you can get the highest, or whatever your front line may be. So like for me, my front line is infantry. So I'm making up a Terravile. I've almost got this Terravile here to purple. So that's what I'm doing. And another thing, when you're trapping, whatever your front line is, so like my front line's infantry, in your talents, you're gonna want to have whatever the third one is for it, whether it's cavalry offense 3, ranged offense 3, or infantry offense 3, you're gonna want to have that all the way maxed out. That way your front line is able to deal that much damage, because that's what you're gonna have the most of, obviously. And then apart from that, another place where you can get stats is going to be in your research. You're going to want to research a lot in military, because you're going to want to get these army offense, army health, army defense. You're going to want to get them all 9 out of 10. You can't get them 10 out of 10, sadly, because you would be putting on too much might. I'm going to get into that next as to why you don't want to put on too much might as a trap account. So you're going to want to get those all 9 out of 10. You're going to want to get your healths 9 out of 10. You're going to want to get your defenses 9 out of 10. You can actually get your offenses 10 out of 10, which is pretty nice. And then I'm not sure how high you have to get the siege up. Obviously siege is garbage, so you don't want to get that 2 up. So I'm going to figure out what the minimum it is that you have to get this siege up in order to get your army stats 9 out of 10. And then so now the reason why you want to keep your might low. So the whole meaning of trap account. A trap account isn't an account that's at 50 million might, right? A trap account can be an account that's at 10 million might, or 20, or 50, or even 200 million might. Because all a trap account is pretending that an opponent can attack you and beat you, when in reality you know that you have a massive advantage on them in terms of troops, in terms of stats, whatever. So like, for example, I'm a 13 million might castle right now. When someone tries to attack me, they are not expecting 2.5 million troops whatsoever. They're expecting something a lot weaker. So that's how you're able to beat people. They underestimate you. So anyway, going off of keeping your might low, depending upon what trap account you are, whether you're a rally trap or you're a castle level 16 trap or whatever it may be, this right here, this is a solo trap. What I'm trying to do with this trap account is I'm trying to get guys to send their solo marches at me so that I can eat their leaders. I'm not going to really be taking rallies with a trap account like this. So if you're going to build a solo trap like me, what you want to be shooting for is for your might to never go past like probably like 55 million, because once you get past that sweet area of like the low to mid 50s, dudes will stop trying to attack you, because when you're a trap account, you have to have anti-scout up non-stop. So that way, dudes scout you, they see you have anti-scout, and then they might roll the dice on you. And the higher that your might is, the less likely they are to roll the dice on you and try to attack you. So always keep your might low, and there's several things that you can do to kind of artificially keep your might low. One thing is to I know I've kind of splurged and I've kind of done a bad thing here, having too many unnecessary heroes to green, like big guys unnecessary, Black Crow is unnecessary. But what I'd recommend is that you pick 5 heroes that you want to get to gold, and just get those to gold for combat. So for me, I picked Oathkeeper, Snow Queen, Bombing Goblin, Child of Light, and Rose Knight, who I haven't yet gotten. And those are going to be the 5 heroes that I'm going to take to gold, because gold heroes add a lot of might to your accounts, guys. I think it adds like nearly 800,000 might, and that's a ton of might when you think about it. And then another thing that you could do to keep your might low is in research. You only want to research in military. If you want, you can go ahead and grab this construction speed. It's pretty useful. It makes things a lot faster. It is quite a bit of might. I think all of the levels up to 10 out of 10 is probably around like 1.5 million might. So that kind of sucks, but you really do kind of want that construction speed only. I wouldn't recommend going into defense or upgrade defenses or army leadership or military command. I'm still deciding if I want to do familiars or not with a trap account. But in upgrade military, You want to go down into hidden and innate talent. You want to get that 1 out of 10. Getting training speed up to 10 out of 10. You can do that if you want. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you have to get all these 10 out of 10 if you want to get the training speed 10 out of 10. So maybe not do that. You want to get quick swap to, I'd recommend, you probably just need it 1 out of 10. You don't really need speed gear with a trap account, and all you really need is to have your combat gear set, because you want to be in bad gear so that they see you and they think you're a noob, and then you want to switch into your good gear when they attack you. And then so yeah, you don't want to research army leadership, military command, familiars. Monster hunt is an interesting one because none of this helps you in combat, but you want to be able to hunt monsters. So what I would recommend, and what I'm probably going to do with my account, is I'm going to try to get the energy saver up as high as possible, because when the Phantom Knight event rolls around, that's what I'm really going to be wanting to do, is to be able to use all my energy on the Phantom Knight rather than just everyday monster hunting, because that's where I'm going to get my value. And other things that you can do to keep your might low would be to not build these buildings. I can tear these down whatever I want, obviously. I just built these because I was a little bit short on wood at the time. And yeah, so just keep your might low, so that way people are more likely to attack you. The higher your might goes, the less likely people are to attack you, which isn't good, because the whole point of a trap account is getting people to attack you. So anyway, guys, this has been Dracalis. Keep it saucy, and I'll catch you guys next time.